Releasing in Australian cinemas on November 14th is a really strong drama called Memory, and it deals with a whole range of issues related to found, suppressed, and emerging memories. And it's my great pleasure to be speaking to the writer-director of Memory, Michel Franco. Michel, welcome to Movie Metropolis.
I'm very, very happy to talk to you, Peter, and to all your followers, listeners.
Excellent. Now, this is such an intriguing story about two damaged people, I suppose, who meet up and find their way. What was the inspiration behind the film?
It's hard to answer that question. I wouldn't know specifically. I suddenly thought of a man following a woman after a class reunion, and I didn't know why, who he was, why he was following her. And then slowly I understood the many layers that the script ended up having. Um, and it without much spoilers, it developed into a very intimate relationship between the two of them, some sort of love story. But I never start working, like trying to tackle a subject, or I don't know how to explain it. It just comes to me somehow. And in this case, my interest kept growing as I found the link between these two people and the unlike love story, and how two broken people that are normally invisible to society and are usually asked to just be left, uh, like to not make any more troubles to others or themselves. In this case, they do the opposite, and they indeed try to improve their lives even at a mature stage. So it's a little bit what would normally happen to teenagers, I guess. Not teenagers, but to young people that are still finding themselves.
Okay, excellent to hear that because it is very much that evolving story of these two people and how they sort of find each other based on issues related to memory and so on. So, in terms of that whole issue of memory, did you do much research about how that can impact on individuals?
I did some research, but not. I don't work. I mostly work out of intuition. I first write what I have to, and I do the research afterwards, because I just make sure that I didn't make mistakes, or I look for ways to improve what I wrote. But I'm not, because I'm not tackling subject matters, or it's mostly fiction, the fictional aspect of things that I'm interested in, and the inner life of the characters. So of course research is important, but it's not the main thing. It's not what provides the field to something cinematic, I would say.
Okay, no, that's fair enough. And as the writer director, you did you find that you were developing the story as you were directing it?
Well, it's always the case. I'm a writer, director, producer, so I like working closely with the actors and letting them bring a lot of themselves or whatever work they've done to the movie. But having said that, I also gotta say that they really liked the script and was the main reason why they were on set. So we pretty much follow the script. Just the way you do things changed completely. Whatever take on every scene, and whatever the actors, especially such talented people like Jessica, Peter, uh, Merritt Weaver, and so on. It's a great cast that I had. I was very lucky.
It's an excellent cast. Jessica Chastain and Peter Sarsgaard work so well together, and by the end of the film, you really feel that they've inhabited their characters, and that there's something going on there that can follow on from after the film. So it's just so nicely done, I thought.
Thank you. Yeah, they really brought life to the characters, the relationship, and yeah, I think they're fantastic on their own, but also the chemistry, it's outstanding. I'm very proud, and I was half of directing actors has to do with casting, just choosing the right people, and I couldn't have picked better actors for these roles.
Yes, compared to some of your other films, which I'll just mention briefly shortly, because New Order was such a brilliant film, but that's another story in a moment. I like the way you hang on to particular scenes and that you slowly develop the story without going into big melodrama. So I was quite impressed by the way you approached the topic or the story.
Well, thanks. I'm glad you think so. Uh, I try to stay away from melodrama, indeed, from excesses, uh, uh, and also the film language that I developed is not the conventional one, so it gives the audience uh, a big deal of space and air for the audience mm, to enjoy the journey, as to bring to the movie, to the journey, as much as they can bring. Yeah, I invite them to participate. So I'm not dictating with music or cuts or on the conventional way uh, what the movie should be. I trust. I rely heavily on the audience, and I think that's a more gratifying experience for them.
Exactly, exactly. It's a really well developed character study, which has memory as part of the storyline, and I really love the way you introduced a whiter shade of pale.
Mm. Yeah, it's a great song too. Um, Fantastic song.
It's a great
And yeah,
choice.
it's it's very evocative and melancholic and beautiful. It's got many qualities. It's a mysterious song, and then it immediately engages the viewer.
Yes,
Uh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I'm glad you liked it.
very much. No, I really liked the whole film, and I also liked other casting such as Josh Charles, and it was great to see Jessica Harper.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. She did casting. Like she's also very humble. She self-taped herself, and nobody gave me like a heads up of who that it was Jessica Harper. So I just clicked, and I was stunned, and I said I didn't recognize her at first. I said, "Who's this fantastic, talented actress?" And of course, Jessica Harper. I was very lucky to have her, and she's quite something. Quite something.
Yes.
That's the relationship between the two, Jessica Chastain and Jessica Harper on screen, is powerful. Yeah.
And that's what so impressed me, the relationships between characters, certainly between Jessica Chastain and Peter Sarsgaard and other characters. It has that subtle development that really impressed me, and I really like the way that you are very low key in this film, in the way that you develop the characters.
I try to make them real. Try to make them, that they breathe life, and half of it was on the page, the other half is the actors, and I shoot in chronological order, so we're building the film in sequence, and I edit while I'm shooting, so I see it come to life, and I usually uh, I can see what's working and what's not. Uh, it's a good process that I implemented. Most movies are not done that way, so uh, yeah, I mean, the challenge always making a film is it's so expensive that you have to find ways to isolate to protect the quality and the good work from all that noise, and to not rush, uh, to not just shoot for the sake of it, but to actually create.
Yes, and you also show a nice other side to New York City, and how these two, as I said, damaged people sort of interrelate, and find their way, or get over past issues, which just again that subtlety is so strong in this film.
Well, thank you. I shot most of it in Brooklyn, in Sunset Park, uh, because it fits the character, her economic reality, and so on. But also because Manhattan has been seen so much in through decades of filmmaking that I wanted a different New York, to present a different New York, and Brooklyn was a great choice. Also, Sunset Park is where it's populated by Mexicans, heavily populated by Mexicans, and that was fun for me too.
Of course, which is your background, of course. You're,
Yeah.
Mexican. And I must say that Peter Sarsgaard won Best Actor at the Venice Film Festival, which is great kudos to you and to him and to the film. And it's great to get rewards for making a film that perhaps not many people would think about.
Peter, he's a fantastic actor. Not he's got years and years of experience, and he never got the recognition that he deserved. I mean, every other actor respects him a big deal, and audiences like him and know him and follow him. But he never got, like an Oscar, or a big award like this one in Venice. So I'm very happy that it happened with me, and it's, of course, it speaks well of all the other all actors that surround him, and Jessica, of course. Um, and we were very happy for Peter and the film, of course.
Excellent to hear all that. Look, I must ask you quickly, I know I don't have a great deal of time. When I saw your film a few years ago, New Order, which is about class struggle in at a wedding in Mexico, what an incredible film. And um, I was so impressed by it. It's such a challenging film, which I was hoping more people would go and see. It's a Tell me just briefly about the story behind that.
Well, it came out during COVID, so I think that affected the amount of people that went to see it, unfortunately. But that was the case with many movies, and I didn't want to hold it like for many years because I keep working. It's a film about social disparity. Mexico is a fabulous country that I love, my country, but at the same time, social disparity is it's massive there. It's everywhere, and no other could pretty much be said in any country. But Mexico, there's 70 million poor people, and there's a small percentage of society that holds the wealth and are not willing to change that. So it's a cautionary tale to some extent. It's about saying, let's not be so greedy, and let's start to put ourselves in the shoes of those who don't have an easy life, because otherwise one day this whole thing will explode, as it has in history. Many people tell me, like, what a twisted mind you have. And my answer is very simple. Just look back into history. You know, it happened a number of times.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, very impressive film, and I also loved Sundown, with Tim Roth, which again was about family issues to some extent, and about relating or not relating to family members, which again, very distinctive sort of film.
Well, thank you. I'm very proud of Sundown. Some sort of existentialist drama, an absurd movie to some extent. That the things only fully come together for the audience at the end of the film. That's when you really put all the pieces together.
Mm.
I think Tim did a great job at you know, the inner life that he shows on screen on behalf of that character is fantastic. And we shot it in Acapulco, a very violent place that was once paradise. So yeah, it's about a family, like you said, and most of my films tackle family dramas. I think families bring the best and the worst
Mm.
of of us, you know. So I'm always going back to family dramas.
But always with a twist, and I think that's so important. That you as a filmmaker, you find different ways or different approaches to making your films rather than the standard sort of approach that a lot of filmmakers take.
Well, thank you. I think movies are only worth making if they're presenting something different, or at least in a different form, or you know, there's got to be like a distinctive voice behind it. Otherwise, why bother the audience with a film? But when films are made from streamers or studios, or it's never the case, because they just follow formulas and they just want to sell. They just see it as a product, and that's why I'm a writer, director, producer, because I keep control of what I do, and I see film as a personal mean of expression. A challenging one, because a personal mean of a personal way to express oneself that costs several $1 million. It's always challenging.
Yes, exactly. Well, very impressed with your work, Michelle, and I must ask you, are you working on another film at the moment?
I shot a film that I'm editing now. It's editing and post production. Another film with Jessica Chastain
Ah,
called Dreams. It will be called Dreams.
okay, okay. I look forward to seeing that and see your filmmaking career continue because you certainly are a director, writer director that impresses me. So, congratulations.
Thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you, Peter. Thank you so much.
We've been speaking to Michel Franco, the writer director of Memory, releasing in Australian cinemas from November 14th. Michel, thank you so much for talking with me.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Okay, bye bye.